So, how did you find out about Action Force? I mean, it hasn't been around that long. I mean, the Palitoy has, but the new Valaverse version is kind of fresh.
Yeah, well, that was just it. Being from the U.S., G.I. Joe was my thing. It was my favorite toy line as a kid, and when I got back into collecting, sometime around like 2017 or so, I really was enjoying, rediscovering all my favorite G.I. Joe things. And I think it was like in 2018 or something, I discovered Analog Toys on YouTube. And he had all the info on the Palitoy Action Force. I had only heard about it here and there, and there really wasn't one place where I could get all the details, or I never found a place until I found that channel. And I got that whole awesome story of, Palitoy's parallel existence to G.I. Joe through there. And, in some ways, I liked Action Force better as an international group, than, the Real American Hero. But, so anything Action Force, I was just eating up. And then I think it was when I attended Joe Fest in 2021, and of course I see Action Force. I'm going towards it. I'm like, what is this? So saw the booth.
So you had heard of Action Force from the Palitoy. You already were aware of that. So when you saw,
I was
the name
aware
again,
of that,
like,
and I had heard some things about Action Force coming back, but I didn't really know all the details. So when I saw the booth up there at Joe Fest, I went over there. I got this awesome T-shirt back in 2021. Saw that there was a bunch of issues of the comic that was all up. We saw the prototypes. Met Bobby Vala. He was really cool. I think he even threw like a little after party after one of the nights of Joe Fest at a local brewing company. I got to go check it out. And, I just showed up there alone, but within minutes, I was talking to other pretty cool dudes hanging out, just talking about Action Force. I learned a ton more about it, sat through the panel where he did the announcement for Tim Kennedy. That was really exciting. And, like I said, after that, I was following everything, any YouTube channel that was talking about Action Force, followed them on Facebook, all that stuff, and was really anticipating the release, which was coming later the year. I think in the summer, Iconicon
so at that
came out.
point, right. So at that point, none of the figures had hit the market yet.
No, nothing was live yet. Yeah, it was all prototypes at the first, showing I saw at the booth, and I think it was during Iconicon that I really connected with a lot of other people in the toy community who were watching these channels like Retro Blasting and Analog Toys, even the Valaverse. He was doing live streams and talking more about the toys. I saw him doing interviews with other channels as well. And then they announced the Desert Rat figure.
It was that 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. It's like Iconicon introduced me to some newer channels like Grindhead Jim. Grindhead Jim introduced me to Wilhelm. I think before you had a Wilhelm toy in hobby, I just saw.
Absolutely.
Kind of hit it off. So,
and
man, I can't imagine. When you're at. I just want to pump your brain about the Joe Con or Joe. Is it Joe Fest? Joe Con. It's
It was Joe Fest, but
right.
2021, I think it was still Joe Fest. It wasn't until things really just started heating up when they announced the Desert Rat figure. That was such an exciting moment. It was just a great end to. I think it was right at the end of Iconicon. And once again, I was really pumped. I had read all the comics. I was really looking forward to, the next issues and the release, and then we had Joe Fest 2022 rolled around, it was 2022, and things changed. It was Valicon.
Yeah.
I walked in there with early bird access. I had my list of things I was picking up, and I got on that line, and, I couldn't even see. Like I said, it was so ridiculous that, like, we were lined up to get to the Valaverse booth. Security's yelling at us, telling us to go somewhere, but there's nowhere to go. They're like,
you had
blocking other vendors.
Queued up for Valaverse so far back that other vendors
it was
couldn't
blocking
get
people from coming into the convention, and it was blocking people. And so I don't even think the convention was prepared for it. You know what I mean? So, at one point they're like, "You have to move," and I'm like, "I'm not moving." because this is line.
I'm not getting out of line.
Shorter. Yeah. So
exactly.
You know, they're like, you're blocking other booths, and so we're like standing in the middle of the aisle trying to make it work. But you know what? Those guys, I gotta just say, they were like a well-oiled machine. You had Bobby Vala himself back there, I think Sal from 2 Cents Toys, Laser Pants, and Analog Toys, Tony. They were jamming, man. They were, because you had people coming up, not only just buying stuff like crazy, like it was like mad, you know? And
then everybody wants to ask questions.
They want to ask questions,
Sure.
They want to interact, and you know, and Tony's coming out of the booth taking pictures, but then running right back, you know, while making change for people, you know, greeting people. It was crazy.
Right.
But they
so
really
for those
did a great
guys,
job.
they're hustling. They're not getting a chance to actually enjoy the con. They're working.
They worked their asses off that weekend. I'll tell you. I mean, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's a good problem to have if you're Bobby Vala, because it was, like I said, without a doubt. And that booth stayed busy, you know, so it really was, you know, they took over. It was great. But
So,
we got
who
to
are some of
see
the
so
people
many
that you
new
got
things.
to rub elbows with at the con? I mean, people we know from the chats or other, you know, action.
You know,
Force enthusiasts.
I didn't meet too many people from you know, like, I guess the people that we interact with every day. I did get to meet like some people at the Iconic meetup after Joe Fest. You know, there were some really awesome people there, like Scuba Pete. Got to meet him in person. Gojatron, Jeff Hicks. I'm gonna forget some people, but there was just tons of people.
ML Series was there, I think.
ML Series was at. I saw him at JoeCon. Jesus Christ. He was at Joe Fest, the first one. As a matter of fact, he was like one of the first people to talk to me. Super nice guy.
Cool.
I was just kind of sitting there drinking a beer, and he just said, "Hey, what do you like about Action Force?" We just started talking. So yeah, really cool guy.
Yeah.
And I've seen him in the chat.
He's really active in the what do they call it? The Legions of Valaverse on Facebook. He's always in there, you know, contributing and keeping things.
Yeah,
positive,
I think I saw he posted some tips on the new ladies there. He was doing some swaps, and he had some heat warming and you know, warming the joints up and popping them out tips. So yeah, always
shameless promotion, kids. Go get yourself a unofficial Laser Pants heat love gun. While supplies last. It's just basically a hair dryer, and it has become my common practice now. As soon as I get a new figure, Valaverse or anybody, they get the heat gun for a minute before I start moving them around.
And just when, you know, we couldn't be excited enough, you know, the panel at ValaCon 2022, I mean, just blew us away. You know, we got the movie announcement, which I think was teased ahead of time, but you know, like they locked in their director, really just got us excited. He also announced the exclusive that went to I forget. They're not around anymore, so it's on Valaverse.com now.
Oh,
so,
right, the Infantry Commando.
Yeah, that went live right during the panel, which was pretty crazy, and then. You know, just a lot more stuff, and the ladies were announced, which we saw come out now. I got to pick up the last 3 issues or 4 issues that I didn't have, which was, you know, the Tim Kennedy, Desert Rat, and Pandora issues, which were all really cool and really kind of, really good comics. And, you know,
these are not
like
for children. These are adult stories.
No. But
there's even a warning label on a few of them.
And like I said, you know, when I was just talking, he's like, when I read the story, the premise, the world that the story takes place in, it all just clicked with me. I was like, this is it. This is the story I've been waiting for in this world that we live in now of constant, you know, rehashes, you know, re-releases, remakes. It's so satisfying to have something that's familiar and harkens back to, you know, the days of our youth, you know, in tone, I would say, definitely, you know, the Action Force way, but is completely fresh and an original take on something that, you know, we haven't seen before. So it's Absolutely. The natural evolution of what,
you know, to what came before. You know, it's like that was one of the drawing points with Greatest American Hero, you know, with the G.I. Joes, you know, because when I was a kid, I started with the Adventure Team Fuzzy Head Kung Fu Grip 12-inch guys. And then everything kind of, you know, that kind of went away, and then suddenly the smaller versions came out. But now there's a storyline. Before, Joe was just Joe, and he had, you know, like Bullet Man and Mike Power, the Atomic Guy. So there weren't very many named characters. There was just Joe and, you know, your mission outfits you could buy for him. But you had to make up your own story pretty much. Now you have a storyline, you have individual characters, they all have unique sculpts, they have unique backstories, we had file cards. So, you know, that was a huge change. And it was awesome. And then we had the cartoons and the comic books and some beautiful artwork and really good writing, good storytelling. Especially, you know, from Marvel and Devil's Due and a few of the other publishers that it's bounced
And
around.
I think it is that deep, that rich storytelling that endears you to the characters more than it just being a figure or an item. You know, I talk to people all the time. And
when all that went away, and you know, Hasbro in their infinite wisdom put out those stinker Joe movies that just kind of tanked everything. You know, it was kind of a real disappointment, and there was a desert for a while. There was nothing, and at that point, for me, I was collecting, you know, the 1/12 scale, but mostly superheroes. You know, I was into DC and Marvel, and I wasn't into military lines at that time. You know, I'd had some when I was a kid, but as an adult collector, it just wasn't on my radar, and I missed the Kickstarter. I didn't know anything about it. I was browsing Big Bad Toy Store because, you know, they get a lot of my wallet every month.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing on there Valaverse, and I'm like, ooh, what's this? And I looked at the pictures, and they were all pre-orders, and I'm like, damn, these are nice. And I started, you know, checking this, like, pre-order. Then I started doing some research, and I saw the prototypes being talked about on a couple of different toy channels where Bobby had sent them out to people, just like, hey, this is what's coming. Here's the articulation. It's going to be awesome. So then I started doing some research into what is this? Is it just generic figures? It's like, no. There's going to be a story. This is going to be what you loved about what came before with other toy brands, but cranked up to 11. You know, Bobby's got a plan. He's been in the comic industry. He understands how to do storytelling visually. And he's going to take that knowledge and also put it into the toy, because, you know, he's worked in the toy industry as well. So he's, I think having both of those different creative influences definitely went into how the line came about. So like I said, I missed the Kickstarter, but
you could see from the quality and, you know, quantity of the figures, the accessories you get with it, you know, the attention to detail that's been put into them. You know, he made an action figure line that he would like to collect. Is the message I get. You know what I mean? He had the fans in mind.
And that's like the mantra we get from Retro Blasting. You know, when Michael says the fans are doing the best work, Bobby Vala was a fan. He is a fan of G.I. Joe.
But what sets this apart is not only is he doing, like, from the perspective of, like, you know, coolness, the fan work, because fans, you know, like corporate world, like, they always pick, like, the dumbest thing to do. When you're like, you have so many cool options and you pick this, you know, he picks all the coolest things, but he also produced them at a level of quality that is far above, you know what I mean? I think I even said on that, you know, that poll back in before the new year, you know, he set the bar, and as a result, we saw Classified raise, you know, their standards and produce a better figure in 2022.
You know, this is the Sarge. This is the Sarge the way he looks today. The head sculpt is beautiful. This is the Series 1 because he's got the jacket. His campaign cover is on point. There is no warpage. It looks perfect. Unlike some other products that have come out that I won't name. There's you know, it's the real deal, and his accessories match who the character is. He's got the finger telling the guys what they need to be doing. You know, he's got his signature hand cannon, and it's obvious that
it's
he put
clear
a lot
that
of love and detail.
The toy line itself has been made with love. You know what I mean? It's really been cared for. But there is one portion of Action Force that I noticed, and I could be wrong. There might be people much better than me talking about it, but when I like to talk about the things I like to watch others discuss and talk about those things as well. And
what a novel concept.
yes, so I did notice in my experience that this portion, the story portion of the Action Force line, is underserved in the community. Whether it's not true, it could but I don't see a lot of content about it. I see a lot of content, and I see and enjoy those videos, but not too many people talking about the lore. So
right, and
when you and I were talking
exactly
about our
mutual,
here,
yeah, that's why
our
we're
mutual
here right
love
now,
of the lore, and saying, hey,
yeah.
what if we sat down and talked about this? And I said, do you think anyone else would want to listen to it? You said yes. So here we are, and all I'll say is that,
it's like,
this was a minor suggestion, and Jim, you just picked it up and ran with it to, places I couldn't even dream. And, really the goal here is to engage with those other fans out there, just like us, enjoy the story and want to talk more about the characters and, see where those characters have been, where they're going in the future, looking forward to anything that comes out, and then maybe hook some of you folks out there that like the toy line, like the idea, but you're not so familiar with the characters for whatever reason, and maybe get you to get more into them, and take these characters and kind of shine a light on them.
Right. It's like, for me, I have been really enjoying my time being a co-host with Bill on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. That's my weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we get together and we talk about everything from sea monkeys
all
to street magic and vintage toys, everything. So, but that is one particular area, and that's what we do. And I have talked about Action Force over there, but it's like, I need a different place to specifically talk about my love for this particular toy line, and the customizing that you can do with it, and some of the third-party accessories we found that work with it. And it's like, what is something I can do that would be worth doing that every other Tom, Dick, and Harry isn't doing? It's like, there are some guys out there who do great figure reviews, and they do the 360 spin, and here's all the articulation, and here's this and that. It's like, I'm not that guy. I might do a couple reviews here and there, but it's mostly if it's something that is kind of unique or oddball or weird or fantastic, then I'll try to cover it. So it's like you said, I'm trying to spitball in my head. I'm like, what can I do with Action Force that hasn't already been done? And I'm like, I love the Mission File comic books. I love the storyline. And then when I heard Bill Nedro was putting a novel out, I'm like, yes. You got.
I got mine right here.
Got mine right here.
I was saying that if you like the comics, you're gonna love this. I'm not too far into it. I just got my copy, but from what I've read so far, this thing, it's action packed. It's great. Oh yeah. I love the characters. I love the way they're written. And
shameless promotion. Bill Nedro did a great job. The characters you love are in here, and a few characters you've never heard of.
In the single-digit chapters on this, I'd be embarrassed to tell you how many pages I've actually read, because I'll look like a dope. But
it's like the old saying, life is what happens when you're making other plans. Every time I'm the same way. Every time I sit down to read another chapter, there's like 6 other things that come up that need to be done. Or
absolutely
the honey-do list. You have a honey-do list. You're married. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. So we're looking to break it down. We want to do a live stream every other week, I think, right? On Mondays.
Yeah.
And we're looking to do one character and just take a deeper dive in there, and just explore them. And we decided we're just going to go right in chronological order, right? With the first character being Condor. I think that we're also going to do a brief overview.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know Series 3 is the new hotness because I've been waiting anxiously for the ladies, but we're going to go all the way back to Series 1. We're going to start with Condor and work our way down and go character by character as much as we can from the lore that is out there, from the mission files, from the back of the box on their they don't call them file cards. What do they call them? Just went out of my head. Combat profiles. So the combat profile has kind of a basic write-up of the character, their specialties, their MOS in the military, and now we have Bill's novel. So we have some areas to draw from. We're not going to do a lot of heavy spoilers. So
no.
I don't want to spoil the novel for people who haven't read it yet. But
we're just like trying to
character
kinda
study,
highlight the coolness of these characters, and kind of get you to, give you some of the facts about them, give you kind of their essence, what we enjoy about them, and then let you go out there, read the book yourself, and decide what you enjoy, and hopefully come back, join us in the live chat, and just talk about it with us. I really appreciate that.
Exactly. I mean, I really want. I don't mean to talk over you, but I'm excited.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see some chat interaction. I know there's some other Action Force guys out there, but I do want to make a couple of disclaimers here while we're here. I do not work for Valaverse. I do not get unpaid stuff. I buy all my stuff. I love my stuff. I'm a fanboy. Okay, I am not an aficionado of every nomenclature and or weapon ever designed. I was in the military, but I am not an expert, so I may get some nomenclature wrong. Please don't fry me.
Believe me, we're gonna get
one weapon, another weapon.
We're gonna get all kinds of stuff.
We'll try to get it right, but if we do,
but we're here to have fun.
Wrong,
we're here to enjoy the characters, enjoy the story. And then share. If we really want to hear from you, we want to hear what you think about the story as well. Also, I'm not here to fight any battles either. I'm just here to enjoy the story. So I know that there's other IPs, and G.I. Joe is definitely an inspiration to a lot of this stuff because it stemmed from it. But I think there's room in the world for both of them to exist. But I think you're fooling yourself if you're saying. I'm going to use my extreme close-up here. You can like both. You can like G.I. Joe Classified, and you can like Valaverse. Yes.
It's okay.
It is okay.
So it is okay. It's fine. We're not talking about Classified here. We're not going to do comparisons because we're not specifically looking at the toy figure stuff. We'll mention, but we're looking at doing what is the lore? What is the storyline? Who are these guys? What is the Garrison? What is the Swarm? What is New Colonia? There's a lot of questions that people may not even know about because they just see cool military figure, something I can customize, and they've never even explored how deep this rabbit hole can go.
So we're going to explore the lore. That's
explore the lore, baby.
Yes. All right. Well, I think
Trademark.
Largo's lair. That's all I got to say about it. I think we've covered why we're here, and we're hoping you'll join us next episode where we're going to do a brief summary of the world as it is in the storyline, how it's changed from the world we live in. And in the
we're
next
gonna keep it short and
episode,
sweet. We'll probably keep it about half an hour, like we are tonight. So next time, we'll look at doing every other week, maybe weekly if it gets really hot. We're playing it by ear right now. It's up to you guys in the chat if this is something you want. If it's something we can juggle every week, we'll try. So next episode we will explore what has happened to the United States, what is the decline, what is New Colonia, and just the overall view. And then after that, we'll start in with Condor. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds good. I can't wait to get started.
All right.
And hopefully by then, a couple weeks will have passed and I will be through this and have a lot more notes on the character.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. I'm eager to finish, but at the same time, it's like I don't really want to finish because then it's over. It's like I'm enjoying going through the process and the gunfights.
And then we could speculate about what's coming next in the movie too. So I don't know if this book leads directly into the movie, but
that's a good question, and that's something we can put out there in the ether and see if we can get an answer. I know that the major motion picture is being worked on, and so the lore as we know it is still going to evolve. You know, what was on the back of the action figure package may not be exactly the same. There's even a note that Bill put here in the beginning of the novel that says that there are a few things that have changed from the initial toys.
Yeah.
Note to readers, Carrick and Bone Collector, there's a couple of their details that have changed because Bobby is still evolving the storyline. So we'll go over what has come, and then where we know, we'll make notes of saying, okay, well, this has changed, or this is where we are now, and we can speculate about where we're going. We might be wrong. We'll see when the movie comes out. So
Yep.
don't.
Right.
We are not the chroniclers of canon. We're just guys in the peanut gallery, just like everybody else.
Yep.
So this is exciting, Will. I'm glad you decided to bring this to my attention and let me run with it. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully
I'm really glad
everybody in the chat
you're
will too.
you have me along for the ride. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I wouldn't have anybody else as a co-host, man. We may look at having some special guest experts down the road because there's a lot of guys who know more than we do. So if anybody's interested, hit me up. Send me an email or check me out on Instagram or something and let me know if you're interested, and we'll see what happens. So everybody, have a good night, and we will see you in the very near future. Thanks, Will.
Thanks. Have a great night.